MAGA is doing, if you look at what Trump is doing, if you look at, as you said, what is being normalized, it fits a series of checkboxes that we recognize as fascism. And I guess the way I think of it is there are plenty of diseases that when doctors are analyzing a patient and trying to work out what that patient has, there's no single assay. There's no single test. You can do a blood test and you can say you've got this disease. You can do that for some diseases, but there are many other diseases you just reach by a diagnosis that you have a set of symptoms. The doctor looks at those symptoms, they eliminate all the other causes, and they say, well, we think you have this because you meet the symptoms. Well, if you look at what's happening in America today, you can say, all right, we have a series of symptoms, and when you analyze what those symptoms are, the conclusion is you're suffering from a bout of fascism. And what are those symptoms? What are being normalized? Well, we've militarized law enforcement. So we're putting National Guard and Marines into American cities. Well, that's A, unconstitutional, and B, it's textbook authoritarianism. We're going after the independence of universities. We're saying that you have to enforce a code of conduct. You have to enforce an ideological purity test. Otherwise, you're going to lose your funding. We're going after museums and cultural institutions and saying unless the Smithsonian meets purity tests, ideological purity tests, its leadership is going to be fired. We're dismantling independent ombudsman structures, independent watchdog structures. We're normalizing the presence of secret police, wearing masks, unidentified, not carrying badges, who arrest people in broad daylight and chuck them into unmarked police vans. Well, every single one of those things that I'm identifying, and there are many, many more that I haven't talked about, every single one of those is a textbook symptom of a society falling into fascism. So they don't have to use the word fascism. The Republican Party doesn't have to use the word fascism. MAGA doesn't have to use the word fascism. But on a daily basis, we are normalizing things that are so far removed from any Enlightenment constitutional concept of democracy that they can only be understood as fascism. Look, I was talking to you earlier and we were talking about the country of Portugal. Portugal had a fascist leadership for nearly half a century. Spain had a fascist leadership for nearly half a century. You can fall into a slow-moving fascist leadership. It doesn't have to have all the pyrotechnics of Nazism or of Mussolini's fascism in Italy. You can fall into a slow-rolling fascist calamity that ruins a society for decades. That's what happened in Portugal. It's what happened in Spain. It's what happened in Chile under Pinochet. And it looks like it's what's happening under Trump's America. And unless we identify that, and unless we say, look, here's why it's fascism, then we are not going to have any roadmap to get out of this